Welcome back. Today we are in Proverbs chapter 26, verse 11 today. Verse 11 says, "As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly." So I had a dog once that did this. She threw up in the house and then she cleaned it up. She just ate it all up and it was gone, and I was impressed. And I was grossed out, but impressed at the same time because it was less cleaning for me to have to do. But in the same way as how gross that is, it's what happens. A fool returns to his folly, and it's the same kind of grossness. They don't learn, they don't get it, they don't figure out what the best thing is to do. They just go back and do the same wrong thing over and over again. Verse 12 says, "Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There's more hope for a fool than him." So what people who are proud, people who think they have it all together, it's better to be a fool than to be one of those, because at least fools realize they don't know anything, and they're willing to learn. Well, hopefully they're willing to learn, but even if they're not, they're still better than somebody who thinks they got it all together, and is very prideful about it. So if you're like, "I'm not a fool," maybe you're this guy. Verse 13 says, now we're getting the lazy people, getting away from foolish into the lazy. Verse 13 says, "The lazy man says, there's a lion in the road, the fierce lions in the street." They come up with excuses of why they don't want to go out and work. "As a door turns on its hinges, so there's a lazy man on his bed." So you can just imagine the door and the opening and the hinges, they just turn, but they don't really go anywhere. Same thing with the lazy man, he just turns on his bed, doesn't go anywhere. "A lazy man buries his hand in the bowl, wearies him to bring it back to his mouth." I think this is a funny picture. Just think of a guy eating a bowl of something. He puts his hand in to get the food, and he's like, "Oh, it's too much work to do this." You know, it's like that. You should want to do that. That should be the most basic. Like my 9-month-old does that, and well, he's not lazy. He moves all over the place. But you know, it's just eating is a basic necessity. And if you're too lazy to eat, you got problems. "The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly." So let's just think about this. This is true. That if someone's lazy, it's never like, "Oh, I don't want to do it. It's never going to get done. I'm just going to die of starvation here on this couch because I can't get over to the refrigerator to get more food." Right? It's not. They never say that. They're like, "Oh, I'll do stuff later, and whatever work that needs to get done, I can do that in 5 minutes. I just want to rest my eyes now, and I'll get to it later." They always have some kind of excuse on why they're lazy. It's never just, "Oh, I'm just lazy." They always have I'll figure it out. I know this. This is easy, and then it turns out not to be easy, and they're in trouble later. Verses 17, "He who passes by and meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears." So if you see two guys fighting either verbally or even physically, and you get in the middle of it, you're going to get hurt. It's just like if you see two dogs fighting and you decide to go and just grab the ear of one of them, you're going to get bit, right? So the same idea is watch out for other people fighting, because you'll get hurt. Verse 18 says, "Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, 'I was only joking.'" So don't do that. Don't make fun of your neighbor or do stuff, and then when they come, just like, "Oh, I'm only joking." That's not a good thing to do. And it's the same one as a crazy guy who's throwing firebrands, which are fireballs. You know, these things that light on fire and throw over the fence. Or arrows, or death. I don't know how you throw death. It must be very heavy, but how they throw it, and then it hurts the other people. And it's the same as a neighbor who just keeps saying, "I was only joking." You try to save your friendship, save your relationship by just saying, "I was only joking." And in real honesty, you shouldn't be doing that stuff in the first place. So if you have to say, "I was only joking" to keep your friends, you're not being a good friend. Verse 20 says, "Where there is no wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no talebearers, strife ceases." So the same way, if you have a fire and you don't put wood on it, it's eventually going to go out. Same thing with gossip. If you stop talking about the gossip is going to die. But people have to stop talking about it. Every time someone talks about the gossip thing is when put more wood on the fire. And that's one of the problems I have with our news today. It's like they keep talking about stuff that they really shouldn't talk about, because what it does is it just riles stuff up in people's hearts, gets them more ratings, so they want to talk about it, but it creates and perpetuates even more sin, so they really shouldn't. But being moral leaders is not really the media's job, I guess. Well, anyway, we'll get to verse 21 tomorrow, so I'll see you then. All right, bye.